I've been doing this since I was 15, and this is like year 24 or whatever, and you're always trying to find something to go, how do you keep it fresh? And then you keep saying the same things. What is drum corps? Well, it's the diesel fumes in the parking lot, and it's we use these particular instruments, and we have lines on a green turf, and it's these things that are always the same and are inherently the same, but we're always trying to find something that's kind of slightly different about that. And so, when we started talking early on in the design meetings about what it is, what we wanted to do, and that sort of thing, and I just kind of tossed out the idea of beast. It was more in the sense of, I feel that drum corps performers are beasts of performers. There are stage performers who do wonderful things, and film performers who do wonderful things. But for this particular idiom, what is special about it? And it's the art of being able to move while simultaneously playing ridiculous charts, while simultaneously doing crazy body things, while also having this 100-yard stage that you're trying to fill up and create drama and energy and dynamic feelings and all of those kinds of things. And so early on in the design process for me, I really wanted to have something that spoke to the kinds of students that they are, the beasts of the performers, the beast-like skills that they're able to do, and then inherently those discussions started to take on, well, okay, literal beasts, what are some of these facets? They are quick, they're nimble, they're cunning, they're agile, they're composed, whatever it is. Those things started to take shape from a design standpoint. But for me, for what drum corps is and for what we wanted the show to speak, it should be about the students, the beast-like qualities of the performers that are on the field. And while we wanted to have a large scale over the top set, we didn't want it to be about that set. And while we did want to have props that were unique, we didn't want it to only be about that thing. And while we did want to explore soundscape, we didn't want the show to be driven by sound effects. We wanted it to be driven by the unique characteristics and beast-like traits and qualities that the students were able to perform, and what we could compose around that. How could staging and drill feel beast-like? How could body choreography feel beast-like? Not just cool and interesting, not just toss to toss here because that's what it is, but how can each one of those traditional elements that go into making what we would consider a great drum corps, how can that be uniquely stylized and detailed within the concept of what the character and persona of these different beasts are? So I think, leaving it open-ended to be perceived as that still kind of lets you feel like that the students on the field are the beast. The total composition of the program is the beast, and it's only fully realized when you've seen all 12 minutes of it. You take it all in from its totality, and you go, wow, that was a beast of an effort, visually, musically, artistically, however you want to take that. And so, there, like I said, there are characteristics that we do imbue the show with, just like, the ballad. How does that relate to being a beast? Well, every beast, while, murderous and sinister out on the battlefield, is also delicate and gentle with its young or with its mate. There's a softer side to every beast. And so, again, we took these facets and manipulated them around into a storyline that worked well for us. From the introduction and the awakening of a beast till the last 45 seconds of fully realized beast. That was kind of the road that we took. So I for me, like those shows that you kind of have to lean into and say, how, what are these choices meaning? What were they feeling here? And to not just serve it forward to me, but to allow me to go in and appreciate the choices that were made visually, musically, artistically, intellectually, emotionally, to really draw the audience into to have more depth, to be able to see more things and feel more things, was the original approach.
Yeah, I would second that and say that Rick started with something that, we all have a parking lot, we all have a football field. I was just saying to somebody in Atlanta this weekend that I think sometimes we in the marching arts idiom, we take ourselves too serious, and everyone is still on a football field. There is no curtain, there is no Broadway stage, there is no lights. All the things that we're trying to take and transport an audience member to, everybody's going to bring a different variation to that on a standardized background, which That's difficult to do. And then when you start talking about transporting people to another place, that's really where I think this show does that from the very beginning. When we put the soundscape at the very beginning of the show together, I remember saying on a design call, I feel like I'm in a movie right now. I mean, you just took me there. We haven't played a note of the Bruckner yet, and I'm already there. I feel like I'm a part of that movie. And from that point, I get to live that movie. I say that the best shows in the world are the ones that take the audience over the front sideline. And you can totally see there's a feeling in the crowd after we finish the first 4 or 5 minutes of our show and we go to the ballad. You can hear a pin drop in the stadium. And no one was given a cue card to say, now this has a little bit more sensitive side to it. This has more of a softer feeling. But what the music does and how we with the use of space and the use of silence takes an audience member to that big deep breath that they want to take and wonder what's next. And that's where the variety of the show, and I think the pacing and the strength of the product really works well, and it communicates well because it's what's happening within the constraints of that standardized stage that everybody's performing on, that we do introduce a lot of variety. We do introduce a lot of sound, a lot of different soundscapes, trombones that are used as traditional instruments, not just sound effects. The percussion that is used throughout, that is very heavy, that you hear foot stomps, that you hear chases and rampant snarls, and the uses of rim shots that are the fight, and all the way to the transport at the end where we have our fourth movement that's entitled King of the Mountain, that builds into what becomes this monster alpha beast. And then in the end, you realize that the beast all along has been the drum corps, the alpha beast becoming the drum corps. And then we reinitiate that at the very end with some props that we've just added this week. So you actually see the beast come to life. But there's a realization about that part of the show for me that is a heroicism, and that also I think makes a little bit more of the beast idea more concrete, that it feels like I know that person. I followed that person for the last 11 minutes, and you just revealed yourself to me.
Watch the rest of this conversation in its entirety at marchingartseducation.com/DCI 2018. Find more interviews with the design staff members of other top DCI corps at marchingartseducation.com/DCI 2018. We are offering a special discount for DCI fans. Use coupon code DCI 2018 at checkout to receive free access to any paid video or webinar at marchingartseducation.com. And find many free videos and webinars available now. Have your best season ever by learning from the top professionals in the marching arts at marchingartseducation.com.